This is Module 3, where we're going to go over the surface preparation. We're going to talk about some details of what we should and shouldn't do have lined up right now, and what you ought to rent, what you had not to rent at this point right now. And we're going to cover all the details that are associated with the precision that you're going to want to take in the surface preparation to make this project a good, long-term, long-lasting job. So first of all, let's talk about the weather. The weather is something that's really critical to this project, because in most cases you are exposed to the outdoors. You're going to want to be sure that you've got at least on a minimum a 3-day window of good weather forecast, where you've got 60 degrees and rising in the day, and nothing that's going to be dipping below 45 at night. The reason for this is because we're dealing with a water-based product, and we just don't want it to get moisture in it prematurely, and we don't want it to get wet from rain, hail, snow, or sleet, whatever may come, and sprinkling systems too. So let's just stop there for a minute on this sprinkling system thing. Even us as a contractor have got ourselves caught in that situation where we have not taken the necessary precautions of having someone turn off their sprinkling system, and even neighbors with overspray that could possibly come over onto your project is something that you're going to want to take a look at. So when you're doing this project, you want to shut your sprinkling system off entirely until you have gone 24 hours past that point of the finished product, whether you've just resurfaced it and you're walking away from it, or if you have sealed it and you're walking away from it. So given those circumstances, you get this all lined up and your forecast is looking favorable, and you've made notifications to your neighbors if that factors into your project, and for yourself, you've got those sprinklers all taken care of now. So all you're going to need to do to plan on as far as the big expenditure at the rental place is going to be that pressure washer. Unless you can borrow one from somebody, that's wonderful. Anything you can borrow from somebody that's a good neighbor is always awesome, and or of course your own tools. But if you have to rent that pressure washer, you're only going to need it for a few hours, most likely. If your project is bigger than 500 square feet, if you're getting into 1,000 and multiple thousands of square feet of project, then you may need that pressure washer for the whole day. But get that taken care of first, and then you can take and return it, so that you don't have to pay any more rent on it than necessary. Then you're ready to go ahead and line up all the rest of the day for yourself. If it is that you still have a balance of the day, which you should, that you can start to do the patch and filling and leveling process in the resurfacing here. So the weather plays a huge part in this. This could be a nightmare for you if it turns on you. Of course, we have to rely the best that we possibly can on what the forecasters give us in our area, and try to trust in their judgment. At the next level, then you have to trust in your own judgment, your own sense and feel for the weather. We got that all taken care of. We got sprinklers taken care of. We've got all of, once again, our tools and other miscellaneous items all lined up and ready to go in your garage or off to the side of your job that you have in mind. Keep your packaged materials that are in your concrete bags and your lime bags where it can stay dry, so that you don't have that go bad on you from either rain or sprinkler systems, right? And so after you've pressure cleaned and you've got that all ready to go, then you're ready to start putting down some product, which we'll get into the next module. But for a long-term success, this pressure cleaning is really paramount. It's critical that we do this right, and you want to do it slow and methodically and very carefully and stay focused on it. It's a boring process, but it's a critical process that you need to really pay close attention to. So like any other project, your surface preparation is going to depend on how much time and life and wearability you're going to get on that project, depending on how well you prep that surface. So the contaminants are a factor in these driveways, for example, where oil, grease, petroleum, transmission fluid, leaks, gum, whatever other kind of contaminants could possibly get integrated into your concrete, you're going to want to pay close attention to. Grease and oil, any petroleum products are your worst enemy when it comes to putting down this resurfacing product, because once again, as I mentioned, it is a water-based product and it can't bond anything that's oil. So you want to get any of that out. And the best, quickest, easiest, and cheapest way to do that is with muriatic acid. 100% unadulterated, nasty, stinking, toxic muriatic acid. It's cheap to get, and you can get it at most any hardware store. You're going to want to use that multiple times if you have to, if you've got a lot of deep ground-in grease. And to take it to the next level, if it is that it's really beyond salvage because the grease is ground and driven into the concrete so far, then you're going to need to grind it down. So that's where your grinder is going to come into play. The same grinder with a 24 segment cup wheel is going to be what you'll use to grind out any petroleum stains in your concrete. Sealers also. We need to be sure that you've purged any sealer that may be on your driveway so we can get good adhesion and bonding. So contaminants, let's get those out of there and feel all good about this before you begin to pressure wash. Your water pressure will play into and factor into the performance of your pressure washing pump. It's all at the mercy of gallons per minute that rush through this pump, and the typical 3,500 psi cold water pressure washer needs to have a pretty good pressurized system. You need to have at least 55 plus pounds per square inch that you're going to be able to put into that pump. So we encourage that if you have exterior irrigation water, that the pressurized irrigation water we find has a higher rate of pressure in operating the pressure washer, which is just primo and ideal. If you can get above 60 plus degree psi in your water pressurized system, that pump will work just wonderfully. And you'll find that that turbo tip that you put on your wand at the end of that pressure washing system is going to be just a dream, and it's going to perform its function just like it was designed to do. So do it thoroughly. When you are in this process, look through the video and look closely how it is that we're pressure washing these projects when we prep them before we resurface them. Don't rush it. This is the time, as I mentioned earlier in this segment here, that to get the to get this thing prepped right is going to determine the success in the long term for this project. So don't mess up now after all you've gone through in shortcutting any of the prepping in the pressure washing. As boring as it is, pay close attention to it, give it the utmost detail, and watch everything very carefully as you observe. And the biggest deal is this: maybe not even so much the dirt, strange as it may sound. It's where you get the very surface, about that first quarter inch to a half inch thick of cream that's typically surfaced at the top of the concrete when it's been finished from years back when they first laid it and poured it down. When you start seeing that area failing and peeling off, we call it spalling in the concrete language, stay with it. Don't skim over that anytime too quickly. You just stay with it, and a lot of times you'll want to take that pressure washer. Once again, I take you back to the video footage of the surface preparation. Really focus that funnel that's going on with that pressure washer turbo tip. It's going around in a single stream like this. It's what they call a 0% stream, and it's rotating at a super high rate as it's going through the pressure pump and that turbo tip, and so it creates a fan. The further away you get from the surface, the wider the fan grows. The closer you draw into the surface, the smaller the circle in the funnel becomes more concentrated. A lot of times you need to get that turbo tip within an inch or even closer if you need to sit and work a piece of concrete loose so you can get it all stripped off. Pay close attention to the video footage of that process. So that'll be part of your success story in the end of this project, is that you prep this right and you'll sleep good at night knowing that you put in the time to do the preparation. A typical 500 square foot driveway is going to take an average of 1 to 2 hours depending on the extent of the damage. That doesn't include any of the contaminants that you may have to remove from the surface. So that's pretty much it in the preparation of this. Maybe one last little tidbit, a little helpful tidbit is, can't even think of another word to say. Clue would be to clean the grass on the edge of your driveway, if it is a driveway or a walkway, a patio. If you've got grass that's growing right up to the edge, so you can see what I'm doing here, use your pressure washer and take advantage of it to clear about 1.5 inches away from the outside edge. We call it the bullnose, where it's typically been edged when they finish the concrete. If you will do that edge and clear it out and give it about 1.5 inches depth as well, clear, so you've got 1.5 inches away from the edge of the bullnose of your surface area and 1.5 inches deep, this will allow for the resurfacing material to roll down over the edge of it nicely, so you have a good, nice finished bullnose finish on it when you're done with it. So other than that, these are some of the tips that I think will be helpful for you as you do this project when you're doing the surface prep. That's why I've spent so much time on this, is that this is really key to your success, and then ensuring yourself that you're not going to have any inclement weather or sprinklers train wreck your project. So let's go in now to describing all of what's going into the detail of our surface module. We'll go into showing you how to use that pressure washer and what we expect to see before you begin putting down resurfacing product. And then we'll see you in the real action here, is when we start mixing up some product and start placing down resurfacing materials in the next module. We'll see you there in the patching, filling, and leveling module. This is the short list of tools that you will need for the surface preparation module, starting out with a 3500 psi cold water pressure washer. To go along with that is your high water pressure hose with wand or gun. And to go with that at the end of your gun is the 4000 psi rotating turbo nozzle. You'll need a container for extra fuel. You'll want some ear protection, as it is so loud. And definitely you want some eye protection to protect from the fragments. And your 100-foot by 5/8 inch garden hose for your water supply. And last but not least is some protective rubber boots. This will be what is most typical of spalled concrete, where it is in isolated areas and not always so much widespread. So this is caused typically due to water, whatever it might have been, if it may have got rained on, if it got frostbite, frozen, or in isolated cases it is the ice melt and salts that are applied. This is going to be more common of spalled concrete that's aged. This kind of concrete here is basically just weather beat over the course of decades, and this is what you get when you have a lot of freeze-thaw cycle working over concrete surfaces. If you've got any petroleum stains like this, you definitely need to get it out. The resurfacing product is water-based and it will not bond to this. So one approach to it is to take it out chemically. Muriatic acid is one of those chemicals that's inexpensive that you can get at your local hardware store. Use it at 100% and use a stiff bristle broom brush to work it in and let it do its chemical reaction thing, and you can rinse it off with water. If that doesn't work, then you'll need to go to the next level and use your angle grinder with the 24 segment bit that's recommended for doing the surface grinding part of the resurfacing process. Concrete that's going to have this kind of appearance to it, where it spalls in very tiny fragments and is in very, very small pieces, is a little bit of a red flag, and that will be something that you're going to want to go over with a more aggressive type of a grinder like this, with it's called a concrete surface grinder or a scarifier. You will want to go over the entire surface with this surface grinder to make sure that it's all prepped properly. Here again, this is going to be more of your common spalling and laminating of concrete surfaces, and this will be the most common approach to using a high pressure washer system with that turbo tip that we were talking about, that has that 0% of focus on a high rotation axis. And this is typically of what it looks like when you slow it down. You can see the funnel or the cone shape that it makes. You can see at the tip of the rotator tip that it comes out in a single stream, and this is the end product where you've opened up all the pores and you've stripped off everything that's loose or thinking about coming loose, and your pressure washer has it all etched now, and you are ready to start putting down concrete resurfacing product on this kind of a prepped surface. Now, last but not least, is if you have sealers that are on your concrete, you're going to want to get that off. And this is a product that we highly recommend that just does a terrific job. It's made by Prosoco, and it's called Cure and Seal Remover. And this is something that you can get most likely locally from your concrete specialties suppliers and or block and masonry suppliers. We apply that product by just putting it in a pump sprayer like this, and then you can go ahead and spread it out over the surface very methodically, as you can see demonstrated here. Make sure you get fairly good coverage. You don't need to pile it on and have it run or anything, but you need to have a pretty good coat on it so it can begin the process of delaminating and loosening up all of the acrylic solvent sealer. So once that's set for about 10 minutes, go over it very slowly again with your pressure washer, and you can strip that off. And in cases where it's built up over a number of years, sometimes decades, and it's layered with multiple coats of sealer, you really have to take and go very, very slowly. As you can see here, as it's slowed down to about 25% speed here, you can see the gray area. That's where the sealer is, and that's how focused you have to get your spray tip to it to get it to strip off. So once you've done that, this is what you want to look like after it is stripped off. Pretty much bone dry looking, not too much sheen reflecting, and it is a matted look. Okay, so with all that detail explained now, you are ready to do some serious surface prepping. And this will be the key ingredient for your success, as I've repeated multiple times, in getting a good, long-term, durable, tough surfacing job that'll last you for decades. So good luck to you. Have a good experience, have a lot of fun. The pressure cleaning actually can be relaxing. My crew guys like to put in a headset, listen to their favorite music because it's a slow process, but don't lose track of being detailed, right? I've repeated that over and over and over again. I can't emphasize enough how you need to really pay close attention to what it is you are doing when you're cleaning, and don't rush it. Be careful to do a perfect A1 job, and your resurfacing process and project will turn out just beautiful in the end. So good luck with that, and I'll meet you on the other side of putting in the patch mix application in the next module.